Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Squire here, bringing you something a little bit different today. I wanted to go back to my roots a little bit, see, how my first ever deck, Levia, shapes up, and give it an honest try, starting with this video. Try and get 3 to 5 games in a day, see how she stacks up in the current high seas meta, as a precursor to the Superslam meta that we're bound to get, and super excited for that, for the brute support that's inevitably coming, as well as the guardian support for our guardian chads out there. I know I myself have been enjoying Jarl and Victor here recently, in lieu of my other two decks, Riptide and Levia. But this deck comes from a slightly variated list from the Mansant one from a couple months ago. We'll plug that in the description for you if you want to go back and watch that to see his exact version, which is arguably like better. But this is like my personal preferences. So as the list suggests, like, I'm so against Wild Ride, it's not even crazy. It seems like even if I do the right things and I set up that card, talking about Wild Ride, it always fails on me. And I don't like that type of variance in a list like Levia, that you could do 100 million, you could do everything in the game correctly. But because your Wild Ride that you correctly set up an arsenal whiffs off the top, and like that's like if the 25% chance, like the 25% nightmare comes to fruition, like it always feels bad. So once he released that list from a couple months back during that season, I really started tinkering around with this list. Notably, like anytime I can include 3 copies of Tear Limb from Limb in a list, because we want maximum discards, like no matter how you get them, like because of the new Sea Legs card during the High Seas meta. Like, I'm totally in. Like, I want to tear Limb from Limb. I want to tear Limb from Limb into Swing Big for 16. I want to tear Limb from Limb into Writhing Beast Hulk for 12 Dominate to close out a game. I want a Writhing Beast Hulk and hit the pipe dream of Shading Death Hydra for 26 against, those more fatiguier decks. It's like it's the best way to play the deck, in my opinion, from a sanity standpoint. And like with all the agility that we got from heavy hitters best hits, like Smashback, Eelhorn, Agile, Wind Up, lists like this that like don't have Wild Ride in them are still very much applicable, and I'm excited to share with you the gameplay footage today. Notably, we are running 2 copies of Snag as a variation to deal with some of the top meta contenders that we're going to be playing against today. That being said, it is Tawashar, so take these games with a grain of salt, but there was some interesting points in the game during them. And then pulping for the gravy matchup, usually exclusively unless you're in a aggro race in which you're running Savage Sash, then the pulpings can go in. But without further ado, guys, let's get into the games. So first up, we have the Dash.io matchup, which I'm not sure how the rest of the League of Levia, the Levia community feels. I don't feel like this is a good matchup for us. I feel like most of the time this is doomed. And this game, we'll see, looking back, see if I could have done anything differently. Ideally here, I do remember this one. Deadwood Rumbler is the correct play, but we shouldn't pitch away the Send Packing. This was a bad mistake on my part. Like, you never want to Arsenal Sea Legs. Don't know what I was thinking there. Because it would have had some applicability going into the next turn if that was a Send Packing, because I'm pretty sure they had an Arsenal. So, drawing into a Pulping Shadowrun Horror, Tear Limb from Limb hand, like the hand doesn't block, they're doing BIOS update. We don't want to block this throttle, even though it's coming in for 9, and they're putting in Techlicore for free because of the BIOS update. So, and they haven't even Dash.io'd yet off the top of the deck. So there's a high chance that this was going to be a Broom Grenade. It turned out it was. So this went from 9 to 14 damage. Not looking good for us. Regretting not running Husk already. The draw off the Cerebellum into 4 more damage because of the Fast and the Furious. We go to 23. They swing 2, set up the arsenal. And this is where I'm saying because right here we're going to throw this Pulping. We're going to see what we discard. And then from there, we would want to throw the Send Packing that's in our arsenal. But that Send Packing is a Sea Legs, which is a bonehead move on our part. So now we're forced to throw this Sea Legs that doesn't have an on hit. It's still 6 damage, but this could have had the opportunity to get more cards out of our hand depending on what's in the arsenal. Setting up a Shadow Realm Horror right here is not the worst thing, but we're so far down in value right now. It's not even it's so crazy. Like, not only did we make a mistake, but they're rolling hot. And we've seen the second red Boom Grenade off the top. We're hitting a Sprocket Rocket. The correct move here is to block Sash and Scowling. Yep. Probably not gonna, stop the onslaught to come. But we really want to get this Blood Rush hand off. Spark, that being the arsenal, sucks. They definitely would have blocked for that card. And so seeing 2 Sparks back to back in the same turn is craziness. So definitely goes into the bin as a high roll game, but I still feel like this matchup is doomed. Doesn't help when you make bonehead mistakes like I did in the beginning. So throw in 6 right here. I think at this point, like, if we give up the Blood Rush hand, we're dead anyways. We could block Graveling Ground, Mark of the Beast, throw Shadow Realm Horror Arsenal to Blood Rush, but then, like, this Boom Grenade's gonna hit. They have 3 cards in hand. There's nothing we can do about it. And, like, just to, add insult to injury, the Pulse Wave at the end is crazy business. That's just, like, the topper for this knuckle sandwich that we're getting dealt. But like I said, we all gonna have bad matchups. I feel like this is one of Levia's worst matchups. Going down to 5, the game's definitely over unless, like, we hit the Monster of All Nuts Blood Rush into Blood Rush, and that does not happen. We're gonna Blood Rush. We're gonna banish the Beast Within and draw into 2 reds. We got to pop Sash here to get the Shadow Realm Horror off and to hopefully swing big to try and throw a 20 damage turn. There's a lot of misses in the graveyard, and as we are shown, we just get to turn off Blood Debt. We don't get to go again. It probably would have been a good point to roll Scabs, but Scabs doesn't fix this game. And from here, we are definitely losing the game right here. Like, we have to give them equipment right here, so we're going to give them Scabs. Into Zipper Hit, so block Apex, Savage Feast, get a Might. Into Heist, we're going to end up checking their banish zone, see that there's a boom grenade in there, amongst other items that they could choose from. No, we have to block. We're going to die to blood debt. We're probably still already dead. He's going to draw Achilles. Hit another spark, because why not? And then from there, Goliath Gauntlet, maximum velocity for 12. Not only did our opponent see the absolute nuts, this is one of our worst matchups, I feel like. But on to better things, like Acilia. We don't run AB in this matchup. I don't see many Levias that do. We're running the aggro package with the sash and the pulpings again, and we're just going to try and race him down. Looking here, Mandible Claw, pitching the blue, discard, agile wind up, throw the other claw, arsenal the swing big. Should be our turn 0 play right here. That's what ends up happening. We throw a second claw. We move to end. Right here, this isn't the best hand. Especially with the agility on board, we'd have to keep 3 cards in our hand just to get the swing big and a second attack off. So blocking sea legs here, there's no discard effects in our hand or in our arsenal, so it makes sense. And then he's going to come at us with a burn bear. We're going to eat 7 here. But he's coming on off arsenal to do this, which is okay. So our turn, this agility is going to go to waste, sucks. But we're going to smash back into swing, throw this beast within. Six damage is 6 damage. He wants to Acilio, which is fine. We get to keep the swing big in arsenal, set it up for the next turn with the agility and the might, and pray the hand lines up better. Blocking, getting him to block 2 here is good. That's an extra card out of hand. And we draw a resource hand with Shadow Realm, Swing Big, and Agility to Might. So ideally, we want to keep this hand. Like, we want this hand. We should block Sash, Scabs here. That should be the block. It is. That's fine. He doesn't get an action point back here. He will ping us for 4. We are going to lead with the Swing Big for 9 going here. We didn't hit the 3, but Shadow Realm, Swing Big for 9 and Shadow Realm is 16. Initially, I looked to Arsenal the Boneyard Marauder here. But since he decides to Acilio in favor of something different, getting him down to near death is the best move right here. So that's what we do. We throw a 9 plus 7 is 16, plus 6 is 22 damage off 3 cards. Only 1 card left in graveyard, but we are going to have the opportunity to block with this upcoming hand. Gone in a flash here, with Go again from Arsenal. Scary thing. It feels like the time to Scowling right here, which is what we do. We still get to scowl out the card out of his hand. It ends up being something good, I believe, because the Acilio then has to pitch the 2 cards left in his hand to hit us with the Comet Storm Shock. From there, this hand is play Smashback to get our graveyard fill into Endless Maw for 9. Ideally, like a cool contention point here is that we're getting the Acilio low. I opt to keep the Reckless Swing in Arsenal in the event he gets to go to 2, but Acilio has Sigil of Solace, so if I had been thinking about that, it probably would have been better to keep the Wrecker Romp in Arsenal, seeing as we have the Agility and the Might. It could have let us have that extension of the hand. Or not even of the hand, but of attacks. So the Reckless Swing gets arsenaled. Notably, this hand doesn't turn off Blood Debt. Like, we would have to keep this whole hand to swing both the attacks in our hand. He's coming in for some arcane damage immediately. And then from there, he Mind Warps us, which we are very okay. This hand was hot garbage, and the Blood Gods have rewarded us with the natty lineup of Blood Rush with a blue with Beast Within in hand. And we are going to draw into a second Blood Rush with a Call to the Grave. We're going to play that Call to the Grave, see what we get. We're going to go get us a Beast Within. We see the Savage Feast, but we're ripping the second Blood Rush. We have no interest. We can't set up. We have a Reckless Swing in our arsenal, so it's time to rip it and ship it. This hand is Claw, Pop, Sash, Send Packing. That's the game. It is a 14 plus 10 is 24 damage Blood Rush, which is enough to get there versus Filio at this low life total. He forfeits. We're on to the next game. GG's opponent. Going into the Slippy matchup, this is where our first opportunity to test out that snag tech. Ideally, to make room, we're cutting one of our Terra Limb from limbs for the list to make room for those 2 snags, and we're still fat decking it by 2. So this Slippy has some Levia knowledge. They choose to Arsenal Pass. We're going to rip a Blood Rush, which gives us a 10 damage turn. Unfortunately, we don't get that third attack here. We don't have enough graveyard. Into being able to Arsenal the Dread Screamer. And keeping snag... Or not arsenaling the Dread Screamer. Keeping the Dread Screamer. Arsenaling the snag. He's already blocking with Balance of Justice. He wants to be able to block with cards out of his hand or fix his hand and draw more gas to try and get us on the back foot as quickly as possible. I do think in this matchup it is very important to be the second, to go second. These aggro-minded decks, you don't want to give them the first meaningful turn. So, they're going to draw off their balance. We're going to move to end still, get this snag in Arsenal, feel good. Drawing double Dread Screamer with this type of hand with no follow-up with it feels bad, but it's okay. Our hand can block. So with no, feasible discard, I'll say that, the play should be to block with the Sea Legs, and then once this attack reaction notably comes, he's going to flick and attack react. We're going to snag, which notably, I didn't actually read the snag card. Snag applies to all attacks during the rest of the rest of the turn. Didn't even think about that until I read it. So Snag really putting in work here. He comes in with Hunter's Clave. We're already marked. We don't care. Into another Mark of the Black Widow. We want to block with the other Dread Screamer, set up this other Dread Screamer in arsenal, and throw a claw back at him. Which, all things considered, for this clunky hand, the value has turned out decent. And with no blood debt, we are sitting in a comfortable position. So throw 3, arsenal the Dread Screamer, see what the next turn holds for us. So we get that arsenal. We did get a card of his hand. Depending on what they throw, this hand would really like to throw that Endless Maw. This really isn't a Dread Screamer hand. So if we were able to block 6, throw the Endless Maw, pitching the Snag, that would be ideal. At worst, we can block, use the Snag, probably throw another claw back at them. We get the Command and Conquer play here, which, unless they're on a jank build, which we're still protected because of Snag, funny enough. If they were on Pummel, we can block Hungering Slaughter Beast, Beast Within. They can move to Pummel. And we get the Snag. That obviously isn't going to happen because Assassins don't run Pummel usually. So our turn now is just as the doctor prescribed. Endless Maw for 9. So far we've been able to fend off the Slippy's disruption whilst being able to play our game plan of blocking with a couple of cards in hand and presenting above rate damage back. Getting getting 2 cards out of his hand is good. Funny enough, we draw the Blood Rush with Sea Legs here. We are already marked. We don't care about Pain in the Backside. That is 4 damage. That keeps us marked, but it doesn't really affect us. Into the Leave No Witnesses. Because of the Sea Legs angle here, there's 2 options. Block with Sea Legs, Apex, or Sea Legs Scab Skins, depending on what you want. Or you let the Dread Screamer go. It's going to go to the Banish where we want it for flip. For later on. And then we Blood Rush, pitching the Doomsday. Hoping to get that Sea Legs proc. And that's what I opt to do. Losing a swing big off the top with this resources in hand with a Blood Rush feels bad. But it's okay. Blood Rush, pitch the Doomsday. We do get our Sea Legs proc into a Call to the Grave. So the correct move here is to rip that Call to the Grave, see what we get off the top. After we discard the Beast Within. Notably having 2 floating with another blue in hand. This is primed to be a very good Blood Rush. We just need an additional card to really make this work. I'm eyeing Deep-Rooted Evil, but on a Blood Rush turn like this, you really want to make these impactful in these more aggressive matches. So Beast Within is the call here. Drawing into the Savage Feast with the Gold Kiss Rum is crazy RNG variance, because we get the immediate benefit of being able to pop this. Hope we don't discard the blue. But either way, this turn, even if we did discard the blue, which we don't, it's fine. Now we get to throw 8 into 5, into another 5. Or if they decide not to block, throwing the Graveling out for max damage. In total, the ceiling on this turn is 16 plus 5 is 21 damage Blood Rush, which were three points above the average, or above the threshold. Getting 2 attack reacts out of him is really good. We'll follow it up with the Claw. He elects to take this 5. And because of that, I opt to go in with the Graveling Growl. No matter which way, if he decides to take it, we're fine with it. If he decides to block with it, we're fine, because that means he's not throwing anything back with us and we get to reload going into the next turn. So we're going to get to operate off a full 5-card hand, more than likely. We draw another Blood Rush. Ideally, in retrospect, like, I'm definitely about to rip this. I think the correct play is to keep it in hand, do the Smashback, and throw the Mark of the Beast, because now we have an all-red hand, which all it does is throw Writhing Beasthold for 8 Dominate, which isn't the worst thing, but that's not what the value we're typically looking to get off of our Blood Rush, especially seeing that we had the Agility and a Savage Feast coming up in the next hand. But that's okay. That's why we're here, to knock the rust off and get back into this playstyle. Kiss of Death here. This definitely feels like the turn I want to scowl. Us Brute players, we have this intuition. I feel like he has some powerful attack reacts in his hand, and I want to try and get them out of his hand. We have a nice bit of tempo here. We have the life lead. We want to keep it, and we want to make this Savage Feast as impactful as possible. Breaking one of the silvers that he's obtained by pitching a Bonds of Agony. Throwing a Bonds of Agony from Arsenal. My knee-jerk reaction is I want to throw Husk in front of this, but since he just drew that card, and he does have Flick, and there's a chance that he could make this Bonds live. But looking at my hand, there's nothing too important that, like, he could banish that, like, I wouldn't care about losing. And plus we're going to flip, more than likely, we know this. I immediately undo that, because sometimes, like, we pay too much respect to these overrate cards, Bonds of Agony, and in this case it pays off. He doesn't have the reacts, he just wants to give it go again, and he was fishing to see if he could get us to miss block. Into Leave No. Now, I know I'm going to throw the Husk here on this, just because it seems like a great time to do it, and we could use the Apex value later on. That being said, another option here is to give the Agile Windup and the Apex Bone Breaker and see what happens from there. But instead, we're going to Savage Feast with a 4-card hand, pitching the Graveling. We get the resource off the discard. I don't think this is a necessary time to call to the grave. I don't think we have any Beast Withins, like, or many left, even. So we want to throw 6 into 2 off the Claw into Endless Maw for 9. Is the max damage here. It puts us off Arsenal, notably, but we are trying to get this guy to start just blocking with as many cards out of his hand as we can make it. So he blocks one card, takes 6, goes to 6 off that. The persuasive here feels a little shady. Notably, we have the life lead that we can eat some damage. I want to make him use it though, so we're gonna block with the scabs here. He more likely has the attack reactions. We've been playing around them perfectly almost all game, and there's nothing in this hand that he can really do to stop us from throwing damage. So, yep, take up the mantle into 2 other attack reacts. We're gonna eat 9. He has the potential to strip 2 cards from us here, I think, but that still does not stop our play of swing a card and flip for the turn. I do think I get to keep a swing big and a blue here, at least. So we're gonna, go into our turn. For some reason, he takes the Dread Screamer, which that is incorrect on his part. He should know that he can't keep us off flip at this point, more than likely. And throwing Dread Screamers in our banish zone like that, especially 3 of them, is a huge mistake. As in Consume, that's basically our second playable deck. He's set up our Consume so nicely. I want to flip now. I have 3, probably more Dread Screamers in my Consume zone. I want to flip. I want to swing big, throw 8 at him, get some cards out of him, arsenal this Hungering Slaughter Beast, and be happy knowing that I have an optimum flip with premium cards in my Consume zone. We transform. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of cards in the Blood Debt. We do hit our Doomsday, which sucks. But we have so much Go Again enabling that we can literally block this Command and Conqueror out fully. Probably with the Endless and Send Packing, I assume. I think we block it. Yeah. Or we block with the 2 reds. That could also make sense. Nope, we block Endless Moss and Packing. And we are off to the races. Literally, Dread Screamers for days. He's going to have to pull a cat out of the bag to be able to get through this. We are coming in for no less than 12 every turn. This is fine. We can block Soul Harvest, Apex Bonebreaker, giving us the might, which is going to make that Dread Screamer on our next turn come in for a breakpoint to get another piece of chip damage in there. Going to demand some more cards from him. We hit the Optimum Banish, 2 misses and a hit. And now he's going to give us 2 cards and his Tunic. And then from there, we come in with Hungering Slaughter Beast, I believe. No, we roll Scabs. This is a point where it's okay to roll Scabs, because if you hit the extra action point, which we did, you finish the game. He's not going to kill us with 2 cards in deck. We will incur a massive amount of deck damage, but we get to go 7 into 7 into 6, so 21 damage off 3 cards. GG's opponent. On to the next game, which I believe is another Slippy. Yep. So, ideally, notably, I didn't start recording until he took his turn 0. He went first. We're dealing with an awkward hand here. We tear limb from limb to get some discard, and we drew into a Blood Rush that we thankfully didn't discard, but now we're stuck. And I like to rip the Blood Rush. So we have wasted a Tear Limb from Limb and a Blood Rush. And all we get to throw is 10, which feels bad. I don't know how else I would have handled this. With how clunky the hands were, it might have still been the right thing to do it, but to rip all the cards like that. But let me know what you think in the comments below, because that's a tough hand to solve as Levia. Or a tough opening hand, rather, to solve. It's all cards we want to see it, but not in the sequence that we want to see them. We did get to throw 10 though. Ideally this hand wants to block 6. We're on hooves this time, so blocking 1 could be fine. I just think we don't care here. There's nothing that I care about losing in this hand. Like losing the Beast Within would suck. But if he wants to burn his attack reacts here, I think it's more than fine. We have a life lead. He's not going to be able to get all to take multiple cards out of our hand, more than likely. So this is fine. And just like that, we do get the attack reacts. We are going to go down to life parity at 31 with him. And funny enough, it's not a bad decision on his part, but I definitely think I would have taken the Beast with those. But he likes to take the blue 6 Deadwood Rumble, which isn't something that like I look forward to being in my consume zone. As like it's a 3 for 6, no go again, draw discard, maybe you banish something. But it is a blood debt card in the banish zone, so with as much agility setup as we have here, it could be worse. He threw a Clave as the follow-up. We're okay with it. We're going to take the 1. Be marked. And if this is all he does, our hand throws the Hungering Slaughter Beast. Our arsenal's the Boneyard Marauder. We hit the 2 misses, which is what we love to see. So we're going to throw 7, set up an arsenal, and see what the next turn cycle brings us. We get 1 card out of him. He takes 4. Another not so ideal hand. Depending on what he throws, we can discard the Agile to make sure we get the go again. We could keep the... we could try and keep the entire hand, but with Mark of the Black Widow, that's not going to happen. So right here, it's block, Agile, and hooves. Prepare to... I think like doing a reckless swing here when you have a guaranteed sea legs proc is decent. It's decent. It's a nice setup play. You're saving life, and you're dealing 2 to them on defense. Now this sucks because we have to block with the last sea legs and Apex should we wish to save the Boneyard and lose lose out on the value of the Might token we're going to generate. But these turn cycles haven't been going our way, but they haven't necessarily been terrible for us either. Our opponent hasn't really been seeing what he wants to see. So we're going to lose out on that Might. We're going to take 3 blood debt. And we draw into the Blood Rush hand, the Shadow Realm Horror. There are misses in the deck. In the graveyard, I mean. So Shadow Realm not looking as hot right here. Yeah, we have the 1 Reckless. I think we'll see what he throws here. So we're never respecting a Saver Bloodshedded Hunter's Clave. Like, there's no way for us to play around it, and we could dedicate resources and get blown out by a Tarantula Toxin. So I am going to let him have the card draw. Go to 5. Say you gotta make me want to block with cards from my hand. Infiltrate. It's going to suck. He's going to have a usable card. I want this hand. We're going to eat 3. Let him banish a card off the top. He hits a Call to the Grave. Sucks. But there's nothing really like he can call for, I don't think. We'll see if he proves me wrong. I don't remember what he got here, honestly, off this call. Notably, like, this game's a little bit tighter than the last one was. Some of the things haven't lined up in our favor, but we're battling. We're battling. He puts... Oh, that's right. He puts a Kiss of Death in there. I think for, you know, Take Up the Mantle and Flick Knives plays. So, that's all fine and dandy. With the Call to the Grave going to the graveyard, we now have 2 misses in there. Shadow Realm looking less than stellar right now. So, yep. Codex of Frailty into the leave now. We're going to block Shadow Realm Apex. Is a very safe block. Not the Husk. Not the Husk. No, that's right. Shadow Realm and the Apex. Cash on your might right here to make up for some of this frailty that is going to be subtracting from our Blood Rush. We have the Beast Within Blood Rush here. So let's rip it. We get it. We draw into his Sea Legs. We don't need to destroy the action point because we have Gold Kiss Rum on board that we set up. So now this turn is Gold Kiss Rum, Boneyard Marauder for 8 go again, into Claw. I'm sorry. Yeah, it'll still be 8 go again because of the might. So it's going to be 8 go again, banish 3, into Claw, into Beast Within for 8. So we're throwing another 8, 16. This is going to be 20 damage Blood Rush because of the Claw having the -1. I believe we undo this. This is once again incorrect. I'm trying to sabotage myself right now and make the boneheaded decision of pitching away my buffed Beast Within. So thankfully our opponent lets us take it back. Thank you, opponent. And we get his hand and we're leaking damage. We've gained the life parity. Now it's time to start dumping the hand. Like, we can't let up. So Blue Dread Screamer for 4 go again into Endless Maw for 9. It's blue. It's not the best, but 4 damage is 4 damage into 9. We can't afford to let up right now. We need to pedal to the metal and put Slippy in a crack. You know, hit him with a sidewalk slam. And he takes that 4. We're going to come in for another 9. See how he's going to respond here. Beautiful. Getting 3 priority cards like that out of his hand. And he's only dealing with a 2-card hand, with counting his arsenal. This hand, once again, we want to throw the Dread Screamer into the Boneyard Marauder. Keep that tempo going. Only throwing 10 here, but 10 when they're at 13 is still pretty good. And setting up an Endless Maw in our arsenal is very ideal. Especially when we have Scowling and Husk still available. So throw in the 6 here. We'll see how he responds. He elects to go to 3 here. We have a very interesting hand with him having a Doomsday out there. I mean, with him having a Bonds of Agony out there. We can afford to take damage here. We can throw the Husk, throw the Scowling at him, see if it interrupts it. If it doesn't, we can wait for him to do his 3 attack reacts. We can play Doomsday, and then we always have a way to shut off Blood Debt. Because more than likely, we're not going to be able to flip this game. Which is fine. We are at 9 Blood Debt. We have a redeemed angle as well. Not that we want to let it get to that point, but he is going to come over the top. Let him react through with all 3. There it is. We get the Doomsday out. We've insulated ourselves from dying to ourselves. We can keep paying our debts. So ideally here on the Bonds of Agony, like no matter what he takes, we have a play because we've insulated ourselves with the Endless Maw and Arsenal. If he chooses not to take the Deep-Rooted Evil, we can swing Plasma Fet, banish Deep-Rooted Evil, pop Hooves, and at least swing a Claw afterwards to demand another card from him. If he doesn't take the blue, we can do that. If he decides to take the Agile Windup and swing 15 with Endless Maw and that, but he decides to take the blue here, which is fine. This is still a Blasmo into Claw angle. 9 damage is 9 damage and demands 3 cards when he is at 3. We're going to take this 4. There's no reason to block it. We literally can't. So let's go ahead and, well, first let's check the graveyard. We see we have 3 misses, which is not good for this Endless Maw. So we're never swinging that. We are coming in with the guaranteed turn off Blood Debt play with the Deep-Rooted Evil. Going up to 11 Blood Debt, 2 off of Redeem Flip. We're going to destroy our Hooves here. Sucks. We're putting in another miss in there. That's 4 misses. But we're going to be able to swing a Claw after this. Notably, if the Agile Windup was a blue, we could then swing another 6 with the Deep-Rooted being self-fulfilling off its own text here to turn this into a 12 damage turn. But he took the blue, being the smart guy he is. We get the Tunic, Leave No, and a Codex. And yeah, we throw the Claw. Like, he has to give us a card and Flick Knives to stay out of Reckless Swing Rage. He gives it up because he has Codex, Take Up the Mantle. I don't know what was in his arsenal, and in fact, not the best arsenal target. On to the next game. To Gravy Bones. Gravy Bones has his own sideboard package for us. Once I click the button, we'll see what it does. I think I already pressed it, but I think, funny enough, I put in the Howl, and I don't think that's correct. I mean, it could be, for all I know, but I just don't feel like it is. He's going to take a quick peek at the top. He's going to activate Gravy with his gold from Crown Dominion. Chart, and to get the Sawbones out, to probably play an ally from hand. Makes sense. Our turn could literally... What do we decide here? Yeah, Call to the Grave. We could get that Howl from Beyond. This is why I'm saying this is probably a mistake here. I want to get a Beast Within the Grave immediately. There is a Terra Limb from Limb angle here. I'm not saying it's the best angle. I think Smashback is the more appropriate play into Boneyard, Marauder, Arsenal, the Endless Maw with the agility and everything set up. We're going to swing this Boneyard at the Sawbones. which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. We want to clear that graveyard. It has 2 misses. It's not the type of graveyard we're looking for. Until he gives us something, an on-hit that we need to block, or activates the hook, we are not incentivized to block this at all. He's going to come in through all this ping damage. We want to keep our go again hand to clear his board state while presenting reasonable damage to his face. So funny enough, we don't have the graveyard to really make uses, but we have a Mark of the Beast. So we can throw 7 go again at Gravy's face into a claw at one of the limpet. So 7 to face, clear an ally, 10 damage turn cycle. I think I elect to... Which one do I pitch? Yeah, I think that's correct. Keeping the Shadow Realm in hand to have more go again at our disposal is always good. He's going to undo here because he wants to gold bait. He wants to hook this. It's just fine. We're just going to give him the scabs here. We don't want to give him any free gold. Notably, this really isn't a good turn cycle for us. Like, I don't like this hand. Like, this hand wants to block and clear an ally. Yeah, with the Avasti, threatening more gold generation. The correct move here is to block at least a card, Apex, and the Scabs. You probably want to give up probably the Sea Legs, but we decided to block 2 cards. I think it's more correct. Save the armor for something that actually matters. Let's see what we get out of him. He plays a chump from hand. That's fine. So our turn is going to be pitch for claw, clear a Rick and Morty, create an agility for the next turn to set up. And we draw into a decent enough Blood Rush hand. He plays Call to the Grave. He's going to go fish for an ally, I'm assuming. Activate the hook here. He reverted back to the start of the turn, which is okay. We want his most optimal play lines to see if our girl can hang in there with the best the format has to offer. And so far, other than that Dash.io game, I gotta say, like, the deck has been performing very, very well. Like, it's been very, very surprising. Especially the Slippy games. Like, that could have just been good variance and bad variance for them. Good variance for us, bad variance for them, but I'm very happy with how these games are going. Right here, we want to block Boneyard, Apex, and the last point of block on the Scabs. Get a Might. Get a decent Blood Rush turn going. In which we are going to force the Beast within discard by pitching the Pulping. It sucks, but it is what it is. So funny enough, this hand throws Endless Maw for 12 go again in his face into Claw Sawbones, set up the Dread Screamer to be able to clear Chum on the follow-up turn. But being able to clear an ally and throw 12 at face is a pretty good turn cycle. This is what we need to be seeing to be able to compete with Gravy Bones. He takes 9 of it, drops to 24. We then take out the Sawbones. I'm surprised that on the Endless Maw, like maybe he didn't have an ally in hand, he didn't activate Chum. Because if he throws Chum right there, I think we're forced to throw the Dread Screamer at it. We move to end. We're going to Arsenal this Dread Screamer for the follow-up. This hand wants to block at least one card. Keep the Call to the Grave. Throw the Dread Screamer into Graveling combo. Arsenal the Endless Maw. At worst, we have to block 2 cards, the Endless Maw and the Wrecker Romp, and still get our Graveling off. This is just damage. We don't care. So far, Gravy's trying to do what we're trying to do, but we're doing it more efficiently. So Loot the Hold here is going to buy the last point of that Apex block and Wrecker Romp. Yeah. This allows us to have the breakpoint on the Dread Screamer so we don't get blown out by Fearless Confrontation. And then, even despite this, we get to throw 6 at opponent's face after this. So the deck has efficiently been killing an ally and throwing somewhere between 6 to 12 at the opponent's face most of the game, which is where we need to be at. So throw 6 at face, he activates Compass. We're going to get the gold baited hook block here. He's going to drop to 19. And we get to Arsenal the Endless Maw. We have a very, very, very ideal Shadowrun Horror play. With all hits. This Conqueror, I am going to let this hit. It doesn't drop us below the consume threshold. We don't want to give him Scowling here because that pollutes the graveyard. And at worst, we do Shadowrun Horror into the Endless Maw that just got put in the grave. We're going to drop to 14. 14, we still get the option to flip. This is kind of a power turn for them because they get to go 8 into 3, which is 11, and to put out a Chum. I think it's Chum. Yep. And I think we just straight up give him the Husk here. Like, You 100% just deny the gold, give him the chum, give him the husk. Sorry guys, I work nights, I'm getting a little bit tired. Yeah, so through Shadow Realm here at the chum. We'll have decent follow-up. There's a universe where I'm supposed to just pitch both of the Dread Screamers. We do get all 3 hits, as we knew we would. We can't get blown out by Fearless Confrontation here, so good news there. This hand throws Dread Screamer into Claw. If we roll scabs and we hit, we can get an additional Claw swing in. So all in all, once again, we're clearing an ally, and at a minimum, we're going to be throwing 9 here at face. So far, the deck is playing the balancing act very well. Very happy with the consistency. We're in a spot where we can afford to roll scabs here. If we hit, we get an additional 3 points of damage. We only get the 1, so we're just going to throw the claw, set up a Dread Screamer and Arsenal to insulate ourselves so we can keep doing the plays we want to make, clearing ally into presenting reasonable damage at face. This hand doesn't really do what we're looking to do. His turn is throw Conqueror. I think it's more important to protect the flip here. We should give him the 3 reds in our hand. Sucks, they're nice targets, but we can do... We can do that. See what we do. It's a tough decision here because then off this we get to flip. I don't remember what I did here. I have the Dread Screamer and Arsenal. I think I might throw the 4 here, which I don't think is correct. Yep. I'm gonna throw this Dread Screamer. I don't think we thought we were going to go consumed here. I think we wanted to go redeemed here. We're at 11 blood debt. We didn't want to mill out our deck. It's understandable. The wild thing here is getting 2 cards on a blue Dread Screamer. I don't see the rationale behind that. Especially a high value card like Give No Quarter. Maybe he just doesn't have the allies. Maybe his hand doesn't do anything. He wants to save a point of damage. But we're going to throw a really tiny turn of 4. Turn off blood debt. And this hand is dreadful. The only thing this hand can do is pitch Graveling Growl into throw a Terra Limb from Limb. And pray to God that we either hit the beast within or we draw something better and don't discard it. The blood that gods have rewarded us once again. Blasmafet, be praised. We discarded the Sea Legs. And we're going to throw Swing Big for 16 off Terra Limb from Limb. Off a top deck. Which is crazy work. That we get to make a run and throw Swing Big and get almost all the cards out of his hand. And still leak damage. And have all the tempo. Yes, we get all the cards out of his hand and we're leaking 5 damage. That was the mother of all top decks. I'd almost forgotten about that. And drawing into the Blood Rush here, when we are consumed, this is where the game is over. There is nothing that he can do to... He doesn't have enough equipment to contend with this. No allies on the board for me to worry about. I'm pretty sure I go Gold Kiss into Boneyard for 8 go again from Consume Zone. It's pretty good. You want to save your other go agains just in case he's able to cover this up. But this is a monster Blood Rush turn to have consumed because we have the resources, we have the rum. This is a nasty turn cycle. Yep, that Boneyard that's all the way on the right there. There we go. 8 go again. We're going to get most of the cards out of his hand and still leak 1. And we are coming in for 5 go again, which is going to land. He's going to go to 6 into 9 off the Hungering, setting up a Dread Screamer and Arsenal. But it shouldn't matter. This should be the end of the game unless he goes to 1. And that's the end of the game. Good game, opponent. All in all today, the deck has been super impressive. Keeping up with all of the people. So let us know what you think in the comments below, and